Huh.
Right in the fucking zone.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This is great. Not like for the world, in the world of Attack on Titan, like animation wise. Like
Okay, yeah.
the
Oh my god.
Come on, we're here. The walls have been here since day one, and they're gone. You know that song? What's the Space Jam song? Let's get ready to rumble. Dun, 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 dun. Seems a little bit inappropriate for this.
Abraham, we just started taping.
Well, here's the thing. When I saw this in the manga, I imagined less the sky going red immediately. There was a lot less. I don't know why I didn't expect apocalypse vibes.
Okay, you know what? They did a lot with color theory in this episode.
They actually added a lot of extra shots of the walls breaking and everything.
Yeah.
So
it's
regardless, hi, I'm Abraham. That's Ben, and we just got done watching an episode of Attack on Titan on this here Too Fast 2 movie. Ben, how are you feeling? Because now we're here.
Here's the thing. I like. When we first started doing this a year ago, like season 4 watching, I'm just like, well, Eren can't be evil. He's got to be playing the long game. And then I started rewatch, and then we rewatched the show, and I had all the information, and I'm like picking it apart a lot more critically. And I'm like, oh, he's got all the little things that says that this motherfucker is going to be a little Hitler.
Yeah.
And then keep going. This entire season has me like, well, maybe, just maybe, he might not be as bad as I thought he would be. Maybe he's got a secret agenda that's actually really
Attention,
good.
everyone. I am going to. If you're not on Paradise, you're dead. At all.
Yep.
Everyone.
And
Well, we're going to go ahead and cut to that reaction. So after that, we're going to come back and we're going to discuss the end of the fucking world. How's that sound?
let's roll that tape.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So we're
showing more of this.
This is the actual founding Titan fight with the Attack Titan.
I mean, it wasn't a fight.
I mean, I feel it really was not a fight.
Because she didn't have full power. Because remember, the vow renouncing war. I'm glad that they're showing, because I was wondering last episode if they were going to show. They censored a lot, but...
Oh God!
Okay.
Oh!
Yeah, so now you know why he went crazy, because it was that...
Okay, so those were the manga panels everyone's talking about being missing.
Yeah. What a line.
Excuse me? Oh, God.
God, they showed it.
We're going. We're going all the way.
This was not in the manga.
Really?
Yeah, this is new.
You guys didn't get a POV for Ymir in the manga?
We do, but we didn't get this part.
Oh my gosh, so this is like old feudalism. Oh,
yeah.
Old feudalism. Oh, that is very similar to the Ymir we know.
Yeah.
That's literally...
There was no deal with the devil.
The original Titan was not King Fritz, it was Ymir.
His slave.
His slave, and he kept her enslaved even though she had all that power.
Yep.
Well, this kind of answers my questions about the original Eldia.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still just treated as the ranks of a slave, but she's a goddamn fucking... Oh, I've never had, like, such instant hatred.
Yep.
For...
A person.
Yeah. Holy shit. Oh, and she moves to save her? Oh!
Yeah.
You're not doing great with the blood libel, Isayama. Maria, Rose, Cena. They were the first 3 Titan. Oh, that's how it branches out for every Eldian. She has to carry and build each one of them.
Mm-hmm. Anytime a Titan transforms, it's instant for us,
but it takes her however long to sculpt it. Holy shit, that's so fucking sad. Were you the one who led me here? Here we go. Oh my god.
Here we go.
He's giving him it. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, god.
Yep, just leapt out and just went powered on.
Oh, god, fuck.
Yeah, here we go. Here we fucking go.
Yep, here we go. It's here.
Yep, we're here.
Right in the fucking zone.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This is great. Not like for the world, in the world of Attack on Titan, like animation wise. Like
Okay, yeah. Oh my god.
The come on, we're here. The walls have been here since day one, and they're gone. You're telling me like this isn't objectively like?
Wait, is it not just Shinganshima?
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh no.
All the walls. Wow, we're getting it this episode.
Shit.
Holy shit.
Oh.
We'll be right back. World's ending, but you know, we're thriving.
I do great in apocalypse times. We've been living in a global pandemic. World War III is like on the horizon. Yeah, I'm vibing. The Olympics are cool though.
Exactly. We know. We get this.
It's fine. This is just like real life events.
Could you imagine, by the way, just cutting to like the Olympics, like in the show, like, and he goes for the dismount, and then you just hear. You just feel like the urn shaking, and the commentators are like, "What the fuck is?"
Oh man. Oh yeah. This is
It's a lot. It is.
There was so much going on in this episode.
Well, we talked about this. There's only like 3 plot beats.
Yeah, it's
not
simultaneously. Well, I would say that like it's a lot in the fact that there is a lot. There's suddenly all the character work that we needed done for Ymir.
Yeah, in one episode.
In order for the actual beat and arc here to work. The foiling between Ymir and Eren is excellent. The absolute fucking tragedy of the whole Ymir situation and the immediate despisal I've had for King Fritz.
Yeah, I will say it's very interesting that Isayama, like we said, simultaneously posits the Eldians as both people who are deserving of sympathy and also the perpetrators of the world.
Yeah.
And it's because Ymir is a slave to the Eldians that makes her history, has made her history a lot really complicated. Because they interchange the terms subjects of Ymir and the Eldian Empire.
Yes.
When in reality, they are very distinct things.
And it's strange because initially you did not realize that they were different at all.
Yeah.
So you would initially assume that they were, the same thing, but clearly that is not the case.
Yeah.
And oh my god, there's going to be an order. There's a lot that I have to say about this situation, but there's going to be an order to how we have to talk about this on the show today. So I'm going to hold my tongue for a little bit.
I first want to talk about manga differences because as a manga reader, I got to announce when things are different and when they do things that are actually like really good. That whole opening segment with Ymir like in her life before the Eldia came and like took over is not shown. We don't get to see her life beforehand. We really just start right when she's being marched.
Yeah.
Like on the ropes and like her whole, like a village is just destroyed. Assuming that she had been taken over. But I do like the addition of,
Yeah, because I mean, it shows that she was conquered.
Yeah.
Like it was.
It stresses it home a lot more.
It stresses home that like King Fritz's regime was that of conquerors and like there's also, the Norse imagery for how for how King Fritz and his empire are presented, is actually very found that very strong. And
Yeah, you were. I remember when we first saw Ymir, you were confused of why like the dress looked the way that it did.
Yeah.
I think it was just because of the lighting. It's very like burlap sack.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, the other thing that I think has always thrown me off is the fact that inside the walls, they're like, you have such a hard time telling what time period is or what it's supposed to be inside the walls, because there are guns, but at the same time, people still dress like they're in the medieval times. Like,
well, that's inside the walls.
Yeah, that's inside the walls. Yeah. Outside the walls, that is definitely not the case. We have a very clear like 1940s, 1920s style to them.
It's not one-to-one to Earth.
Yeah,
it's like it like takes bits and pieces from it and like kind of extends the whole thing.
Yeah, which it can always turn into a point of like, I think, over analyzing.
Yeah.
However, I figured that this is what we were going to get when the episode title was what it was. I was not expecting us to go anywhere near as hard.
I sent it to you in Discord.
Okay, thank you.
Ben is pulling up the Run of Show, so don't worry.
I did it.
Well, we can transfer. I know, because now the one thing that you were surprised about was the fucking tentacle spine monster.
Did you DM it to me or did you put it in chat?
I put it in chat.
Okay, thank you. I did not get a notification on my computer
because it's closed.
Yep, that's why. We should check before we started. It's fine.
You should have. I thought I sent it to you.
My computer was starting up. It's
fine.
Now
we're cutting. Now I'm doing a bit where I cut the episode. Damn it, Ben.
Shit, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm like, we just started. I was too excited. Okay, well that's gonna take a hot second.
It's okay because I can now go to the next point. The goddamn spine monster.
Oh yes.
What did you think of that?
Here's the thing. I am perfectly resigned saying, cool. It was just the thing in the water, and I don't need to know anything else about it.
Yeah.
Like, we went back and we pulled up the title card that they show, and it basically just amounts to, hey, there's a thing.
Something.
It's a thing.
Yep.
We don't quite know what it is. We know she made contact with it. Well, maybe it's a god. Maybe it's a parasite. Maybe it's just something weird.
I do like the idea of it being a parasite, or maybe like honestly, it could be like a little bit of both, like a weird, like because it like latched onto her, and like it passes down the line like the Eldian.
It infused in her bloodline. You could make the argument that it's almost like it's fused with her. It's almost cancerous.
I mean, it did like it ends up killing
people that have it for
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Which part of me wonders, because it seems that Ymir didn't die of natural causes. I wonder if it has to do with how long she was alive with the parasite before she died.
Like maybe the parasite like modeled
everyone after her.
That'd be fucking weird.
Because it seems like she was around for like she has like I think like kids that look like they're like maybe 11 at the time.
Actually, isn't 13 years? Isn't that like roughly the timeline of Attack on Titan? Also, like Ymir in the show is roughly the same age that Eren was at the beginning of season 1. So that timeline does kind of it
hasn't been a full 13 years. I think there's still like a year left in Eren's well, actually, I need to check that because I think he says
he's got like 2 years left.
Yeah,
it's something wild.
Because he says it when they're in prison after the events of season 3.
Yeah,
which is still the silliest prison sentence that I've ever seen in the show.
Yeah, because it was basically like you saved the world, but it's whatever.
Yeah, the oh my god, as far as like the actual spine elements of it though, I'm not. I'm fine with it being whatever it was.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't need to be like, because again, like as you were saying earlier before we started taping, it's about what this thing caused, not necessarily the thing itself.
Yeah, and I'm like, again, I think that like we could probably just leave it alone, and I would be completely content with this. We could also just like not, and I will also be completely content. And like if we do get more information on it, which I seriously don't think that we will, I'm also perfectly fine with that decision. I think that is perfectly valid.
Yeah. We should also talk about the fact that the whole deal with the devil thing, just absolute bullshit.
Oh yeah. So I think for me, part of that actually kind of harkens back to the fact that there is that there is always supposed to be an element of like hate mongering and fear mongering, and this kind of goes into the Jewish allegory that is very clearly present in the show, I think. But it is definitely a I don't know. I could see it being oh, excuse me. I could I see the Jewish allegory being intact with it, but for me it's just basic fear mongering, which I think is just an extension of everything else that we've seen.
I mean, I believe they said like she was fighting the Marleyans like in that fight.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Because the people looked like Hellos.
So you're thinking that like the sort of like ancient Roman look would have been the Marley. Oh, I didn't catch that actually.
Yeah, when they were like bowing to the king, like the guy threw the spear.
Yeah,
like it looked like the hero from long ago.
That makes sense.
So I'm thinking like basically like from the Marleyans' point of view, they saw this like fucking god, this demon lady just pop out of the sky in a lightning bolt and like made their own like lore about what happened. Are you not able to?
I'm not able to open it. You have to.
Okay,
you have to
that's fine. That whole thing is there, and then we should talk about the kids just eating her real quick. We're gonna get into a whole conversation about the blood libel thing, but I actually wanted to point out something fun that was shown way back in season 2. Actually, the scene where she is like being eaten and her body's like cut up and everything.
Yeah,
that whole sequence was shown in season 2. The end credits.
Thought I knew what that was. I thought that was like part of the perpetuation of hate. I thought that was part of like the legends because one of the things that the show has done extremely well is like, oh, you are shown information. Yep. However, you do not know if it's trustworthy. You do not know if it's factual.
Right.
Like, you never actually really know what the whole truth is behind the Ymir story until this moment.
Yeah.
And then finding out what bits are true, what bits aren't. And again, like, you can see it in my face during the reaction. Like, I have palpable fucking hatred.
Yeah.
Through a lot of that.
Because he just did that, like, there's no way to guarantee that would work.
He just was guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, like, part of me wonders if that is one of the reasons why the Titans are the way that they are.
Is because of the action, not necessarily because that's how it is.
Yeah, because that was the way that was the method that he was using to try and guarantee that.
And so maybe Spine is like a thing that's like adapting kind of, and it's just like, oh, this is what I do. Cool.
Yeah. So you just called it Spine. Is that?
So actually, fun fact: it's modeled after a real world prehistoric creature called the hallucinogenia.
Oh, okay.
It's, if you want to take a look, and I'll put this on the screen for everybody to see. It's like a real life, like ancient creature that
my God.
looks like it has like a bunch of like thorns coming out of itself.
Oh my gosh.
So Isayama based this like mythological fake creature on a very real, like documented creature.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's a spine monster. That's what it is.
Okay, gotcha. I was like very like that was so interesting. I caught that you were just like, when Spine did this, I'm just like, interesting.
Yeah, because
referring to it as Spine,
because it's like it does look like a spine.
No, I'd agree with that.
Like it literally attached itself to Aaron's head and it looked like a,
and that's wavy... looks like that's what we essentially got out of it. And also when we first see the founder Titan in Ymir's form, like there's the spines coming out of the ribs.
Yeah, so I think spine monster, spiny. Yeah.
Oh, we're just gonna.
Sure, why not?
That's
we need a bit of levity in this show.
Yeah, we do. You're right. We absolutely do.
We just got done talking about fucking child slavery and cannibal.
Well,
oh my God.
The cannibalism thing, there are some, okay, I want to save that for later, but I'm thinking about it now, and there's actually some really unique elements that are going to be absolutely fascinating as far as the element of the kids sort of eating, the way that is sort of forced upon them, and the duality of not just the subjects of Ymir versus the Eldians.
Yeah.
Now that we know that they're not the same thing.
Yeah, because it's
or not, at least they weren't always the same thing.
Mhm. They weren't synonymous.
Yeah.
At least not back then. Because we are going to talk about the allegory. It's probably going to be the forefront of the conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it a lot. Really quickly, I want to talk about two last things. The first one is just the foil between Eren and Ymir. I talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
There's so many characters in the show who embody the sentiment of these people took everything from me and I hate them.
Yeah.
Gabby, fucking
Reiner,
Falco, even though he has like learned, he still like embodies that sentiment. He's living through it.
And Eren's the main one.
Yeah. It's just tragic.
Well,
all of it.
I think that the main difference here is that Eren, like, this is a character who has the only desire that he has is to be free and for freedom for his people. But again, specifically the people of Paradise Island, as we're gonna get into. However, like, looking at everything else that between these two characters, I was shocked that Ymir did not just fucking murder Fritz when she has had the Titan ability the entire time.
I also did wonder that when I was reading the manga, and I feel like part of it was answered when she died, or at least part of my like questioning was like subsided a little bit, because it's like she stepped in the way and then she died, even though she had ultimate power. How is it that she still died? And it's like, because she didn't
want to live.
Yeah. So I can honestly like excuse it all to just her like trying to find some meaning in life, perhaps, because like again, everything was taken from her. So maybe her way of coping was
obedience, and like I think it's reflective of an element of Stockholm syndrome.
Absolutely.
For sure. Like she wasn't just a slave; she was a slave that was completely broken.
Yeah,
and her own people in her village turned on her, sold her out, which is the reason why she got all that power anyway.
Yeah.
However, even though she clearly hated the people that put her in that position, she would always find it easier to just bow and go along, because what else is life if she has nothing else?
Yeah.
Like, she might as well die if she doesn't have someone to serve at that point, which is problematic. However, I think is an appropriate element of perhaps Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. It is analogous also to, again, the circumstances are wildly different, but the reasoning behind the terrible actions and deciding that it's easier, seemingly like because you have no choice. Because both Eren and Ymir do terrible things.
Yeah.
Objectively. Ymir slaughters armies, takes over the whole world. Eren is going to destroy the whole world.
Yeah.
And both of them seemingly do so because they feel as though they have no choice. They were pushed into these circumstances.
Yeah.
And I just find that comparison and the way that Eren's able to reach her when they're in the past, and the way that is the cause of the whole rumbling, I find that extremely more powerful than like any other, than like Eren just going like, I hate everybody, I'm just gonna take Ymir's power or whatever. Like, because again, as you're saying, like, Eren is the villain. He's the main antagonist now.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill everybody. I just find it fascinating that they're still able to clearly show that like even he, as a person who's going to destroy the world, is someone deserving of empathy. As is every other character.
I think that's the point of the whole show, and that's the reason why we follow Eren as the protagonist for the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So we understand him when he goes into this ultimate mode, because ultimately speaking, one of the things that I always thought when I was watching the show and everything was being shown, I'm just like, from a power gap level, as far as storytelling is concerned, Eren is technically at the top of the tree.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, unless there is like another Titan that we don't know about that could be shoehorned in, like this is it.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that this is the ultimate move that was planned out. However, it was brilliantly executed. And I think one of the most telling things about Eren is the way that he gets through to Ymir is not by demanding power, by invoking the king or royal blood, but by actually accessing her humanity which is beautifully shown by the fact that the first time we see her fucking eyes are when he calls her a person and that he will erase everything.
Yep.
And she sides with him full stop.
Because she's like, because basically, and it's also foiled brilliantly with Zeke, because Zeke simultaneously is like, I am royal blood. I'm royal blood. You must follow me and do what I say. And Aaron's just like, you've just been waiting for someone, anybody, for 2,000 years. And then the look on her face, it looks just like Aaron.
Yeah.
Like Aaron's gritting teeth. And she's basically giving her an ultimatum. Like, this world sucks, right, Ymir? How about this? You can either join him and do what he says, stay here forever, or join me, I'll kill everybody. We'll start over.
Yeah, and here's the thing. In this moment, as much as I hate what they're about to do, I completely get it.
I get it. I'm not
mad at either of them in that situation because they were put in that situation by circumstances way beyond their control.
Let's talk now about Aaron's decree.
Yeah.
I'm going to say also manga details. They've actually adapted 3 or 2 chapters. They took the ending of one chapter and the whole of another chapter.
Oh,
so that whole decree at the end where Aaron or Mikasa and Armin are like, he's done it. He took control of the founding. Like, he's definitely on our side. Oh God.
Yeah.
And then the decree, that all happened in another chapter. But I do like the fact that they included it here because in a 20-minute format, it just makes more sense for everything to circle around.
I will say the opening up of this episode with, "Hey, we didn't get to the part where I ate Dad yet," was fucking savage.
Yeah,
felt a little I feel like that was at the end of what was last chapter for some reason.
It was
okay.
That was the cliffhanger for another
what we just went into.
So everything before the intro was the cliffhanger for the previous chapter.
Oh my God. And
could you imagine going back out and he's like, you haven't seen the part where I ate our old man. And it's like, that's such a chilling. But anyways, back to this whole decree. And this is going to tie into this allegory about Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And a point that I kind of want to bring up. We talked before about how, and you've mentioned this before, that the Eldians are an allegory for the Jewish people.
Yes. Well, at least heavily Jewish coded.
Yeah. I have a lot of problems with the story when you interpret it like that. Naturally so.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that you can go as soon as you make the comparison in season 3, and do the armband thing, even if you don't allude to it anymore, that seed is still there.
Yeah.
So it implicitly
these characters now implicitly coded as Jewish.
Yes.
So no matter what, you are going to be comparing these characters to Jewish people.
Right. I'm willing to concede that that Attack on Titan is at least implicitly anti-Semitic. It's just it is.
Here's the thing. I do think that it was done out of an extremely ignorant place.
That's why I'm saying implicit.
Yeah.
It's not explicitly I'm going to write a story that's
about the Jewish people being evil.
Right.
I think that it's a very poorly done use of and specifically this episode, the blood libel thing was so on the nose. With essentially the eating of someone of holy stature in order to gain their powers is the root of blood libel.
Yeah, that's literally what it is.
That is the root of the idea that Jewish people would eat Christians for their it was never actually the same. Every time I looked up blood libel, there were 5 different versions. It's an ever-changing anti-Semitic trope that has been used to justify hatred and murder of Jewish people. It was used in the Holocaust. It was used well before that as well, actually. So
I'm not saying that the show does not entertain that idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that the allegory doesn't exist. But when we're talking about the show and Aaron's decree,
yes,
Aaron makes it very explicit that this is not about Eldia. This is not about the subjects of Ymir. This is simply and only about the people of paradise.
Yep.
And so when you were saying, even earlier, you were Aaron's turned into a little Hitler. If we take the allegory to its thing, where if we say the Eldian people are the Jewish people,
yeah,
Aaron is not really Hitler.
No, and that's one of the reasons why, again, the coding is problematic, because it forces us to make this comparison.
That's the thing.
It puts us in that mindset, and you immediately start comparing it to elements that have had to do with anti-Semitism in the real world, and of course, the first thing that's going to pop up is going to be the Holocaust.
Yeah, I think it's necessary to bring it up that, of course, like that this is an allegory for the Jewish people, at least implicitly so, at the very least. But as far as like analyzing the story, I don't know if the rest of this conflict is like, if it does us any good to keep the allegory going. You know what I mean? Like, because there's,
I don't think he's using it in the writing. That's my thing.
That's the thing. If he's not entertaining the allegory to its full extent, and there are, again, a lot more, there are other allegories that I feel like fit the situation that is the current crisis.
Well, there's you still could fit it in, because
it still fits, but I'm saying it's not. It's like you have to choose when, you have to know when the allegory stops.
Yeah. How again?
Keep the comparison going.
Here's the issue: author's dead. What the author wants us to do does not matter. What happens is how the audience actually decodes the media.
I'm not saying that the author's intent doesn't. I'm not saying that like we should listen to the author and what the author says and what they mean is correct. I just mean that I already know the conversation and the points with the Jewish allegory. It's problematic. I already know it.
Yeah.
I'm saying now.
So I would what do you think is the actual piece going on here? I'm asking you now.
So here, okay, we've talked all about like the cycle of violence.
Yes.
And it's not just the conflict between the Marleyans and the Eldians that's a cycle. It's also remember last episode when someone in the comments actually correctly pointed out like that there is a concession between whether or not Eren has free will.
Yeah.
If Eren was influenced by Grisha influenced by Eren, who's influenced by Grisha, who's influenced by Eren, it's cyclical.
Yep.
Just in the same way that is cyclical, so is the conflict.
Yes.
I think that because of that, and because of the as well as the backstory that was just laid out between Ymir and the king, and how that translated into the new the Marley and Eldian conflict, I feel like the controlling idea is it's obviously more linked to the cycle of violence.
I agree.
That's what Isayama is trying to say. Now, again, we can go into the whether or not he did that successfully, but I think it's important to note that is based on not just the conflict in the show, but also the magic system as well.
Yes.
It seems more like he was always trying to tell that story, but by implicitly like comparing the two Eldians in the internment zone and the Jewish people, it makes the comparison muddier.
So here's where I think I'm going to disagree with you on this.
Okay, that's fine.
So I completely agree with you on what the intent is with showing these cycles of violence and perpetuating this. However, we have to we're gonna into some. The big issue here is that he coded them with real world people, and the issue is that no matter how I look at it, if I view this through a lens of world history with the Jewish people, Israel, and everything, guess what? I can find the allegory no matter what with this. Because if you go into the amount of times that I'm going to get into some very muddy waters here, and I'm going to avoid that. But the amount of times Israel itself has been fought over as a holy land, and the amount of hatred and cycles of hatred that has led to, and the amount of genocide that has led to, it is very cyclical, and it repeats itself. Now, the big issue here again is with the coding, and in my opinion, the big problem here is that Isayama made a really big mistake in using a real world population that still has to deal with a lot of shit depending on what part of the world they're in.
And you know what's crazy? It's really just the armbands.
It's literally he could have just not done the armbands.
It's if you just did not do the armbands, it would have saved.
Yeah, because here's the thing: if you were there's a history of cannibalism and stuff, we would have I would have been oh, that's a little like it, but there's nothing else to suggest that these characters are Jewish. And there's nothing that would have been because of that, I never would have jumped to blood libel.
Yeah.
But again, he made that choice. Now, what's interesting here was that he made a choice with the Titans and the magic system and the way that works to pull from Norse mythology. But he didn't stick with it. So the way that the Titans are named, the way that the way that a lot of the characters are named pulls from old Norse gods, and
the rumbling being Ragnarok.
It all pulls from Norse mythology.
Yeah.
But he didn't stick with that for his real world inspirations.
Yeah.
And the issue here is he did a great job with crafting the story. I think that this is actually a great job showing cycles of violence. People who are still Team Eren do not understand the point of the show.
Again, also, I will say, I have seen the sentiment for people that are pro Eren die down substantially after.
Oh no! After this episode,
yeah.
Okay,
after this episode, there are of course still going to be the people who are like Eren did nothing wrong, which is like obviously like
that's along the same lines as saying if
I think it's clearly they're doing it to like incite
incite a reaction.
Yeah, but generally speaking, the people who were Team Eren, I've seen like the like.
Oh, you've finally seen people.
They've like
in the last day.
They basically are going like, he's crazy, but I get it. Like that's basically like where most people are.
And that's what the show wants you to do. Yeah. It wants you to understand why this person is picking this.
Followed him, like the whole thing with his mom, tragic. All the people that he lost, like every single loss that Eren has suffered, it was due to the hands of people.
Yes.
And the hatred that they had for him.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, it's to say that like people are like pro Eren is like, I feel like nobody's pro Eren that doesn't understand the story, except for like people that.
Here's the issue though, Abraham.
What?
I've seen it from manga readers consistently on the internet.
Really?
Yes.
That people are pro Eren?
Oh, you need to log into the Scope TikTok and just go through the comments, like on general. You guys
are pro Eren? What the fuck?
Yeah, you need to do a little bit more diving in the TikTok world.
Every TikTok that I've seen is like only like memes about it that they're like clearly like Eren's done nothing wrong, or people like going like Eren, my boy, what'd you do?
I have seen legit discourse in comment sections on TikTok and YouTube videos of people arguing of if Eren is right or not.
I mean, again, it's
okay. On like if
Well, let's talk now. Let's talk about this now.
Okay.
Because I feel like the conversation about we've kind of settled the allegory. Like, for what the show is, like as long as like they keep the same trajectory.
Yeah.
Now we have to talk about like audience.
Audience interpretation, which is we're getting. This is death of the author territory.
Yeah, because I'm looking at Attack on Titan objectively. I'm trying, or at least I'm trying to. And I'm looking at all of Eren's actions, and I see him literally say, it doesn't matter if you're Eldian or not. If you're not on my island, you're dead.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody can take that objectively and, like, seriously consider the...
So I think that this is actually one of the brilliant things about how Isayama has written this.
Yeah.
It is the fact that, and like you've caught me several times on the podcast, it is very easy to get caught up in what's going on and drink the Kool-Aid of either side.
Yes, very easy.
It is like this show, like he did it too well, and I don't think that he did enough of a job being able to call out characters that are like kind of falling into these traps. But he illustrates extremely well how you fall into extremism through hatred.
Yes.
And like Eren is the living example of that, but it's not just Eren. There's also Yelena, who is also completely radicalized. There's Zeke. And like the only characters that are like the most neutral are Armin.
Yeah.
And like
it's literally the scouts.
It's the scouts that are the most neutral because of the position that they've been put in, and they are simultaneously very close to the problem, but also have a very nice step back where they can kind of view everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And that's been illustrated over the point where we watch everything. The issue is in season 4, we have not had a strong scout POV.
Well, let's talk about this. This is episode 5. There's 7 episodes left, and the rumbling just started.
Armin's essentially. Here's where I am at.
Where do you think the show's gonna go from now until?
Well, I've talked about this in literally every episode. We are set up in a situation where the people that could be able to deal with this the most thoroughly is a combination of the Scouts and the Warriors.
Yeah.
They are the only two groups of people that, if they were to come together, could actually fucking do something about this if the worst case scenario happens, which it just fucking did. And I've been like, it's probably gonna happen for a while. I have no idea when it's gonna happen.
Episode 5.
Yep. I was like, oh, we'll probably get it at the end of the season. No.
You know what's crazy? We've only had 80 episodes of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
20 minutes a pop, and like the end of the world is here.
It's fucking it's crazy.
Yeah.
I have no idea how those two groups are going to come together. I'd imagine that it might be out of desperation given the current circumstances. Because I mean, the walls just fell. The Marleyans that are there, like, I think the only people that are maybe okay are the airships, unless like,
oh no, the airships are dead.
Oh, because Zeke fucking took them all out. Yeah, you're right.
Remember that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, scratch that.
Airships.
So the Marleyans on the ground are going to be essentially held prisoner because they're not going to have anywhere to go. And if they do manage to get out of the rumbling unscathed, I would be shocked.
If you notice, actually, the Titans were actually circling the perimeter of where the walls were. So they're not touching...
They're not touching lands in Paradise. They're going to leave Paradise for the most part unscathed unless you were like right next to a wall when it broke.
Yeah, like Eren and Mikasa were. Like they were fighting Peak on the wall, and they were like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
And then had to fucking like it's a miracle that they managed to get out of there. Yeah. Like Gabby is probably only safe because of Reiner.
Could you real quick? I just want to point this out from Gabby's POV. You see Eren, all right? You got the gun. You're like, all right, I can do it. I can kill him and save the world. And then the head, and then it transforms anyway. The walls just start crumbling around you.
Oh yeah, it was instantaneous for her. She hasn't even put the rifle down at that point.
No. Still dealing with the recoil, and then like big Titan Eren just appears.
Big spiny boy.
Absolutely terrifying.
Mr. Spine?
Mr. Spiny.
Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus?
He looks like a dinosaur, kind of.
Okay.
And he was like, kind of like...
On Too Fast, Too Movie, from this point forward, he will be known as Spinosaurus.
Spinosaurus. Any other final thoughts you want to leave us off with? Because I'm ready for the next one.
I'm just upset that I have to wait a week.
Yeah,
that's the only thought that I have.
Yeah, well, join us next week as we talk about the end of the fucking world. My name's Abraham, that's Ben, and this has been another episode of Too Fast, Too Movie. If you like this, let us know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and we do encourage discussion, though we will not tolerate any discussion about the allegory. We are correct.
Oh man, you have no idea what you just invited, but that last comment.
Goodbye!